What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Now, the wrestling world operates 365 days a year, and so does Wrestlelamia. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including SmackDown's ratings, Jordan Myles quits wrestling, a scammer posing as the NXT Women's Champion, an NBA player wants to wrestle, Seth Rollins' refusal to take abuse, and a WWE title has been stolen. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos. But let's waste no further time and get straight into the first news as we look at the SmackDown ratings. The ratings are in, and the 6th December edition of Friday Night SmackDown improved over the previous week's post-Thanksgiving episode. The Wrestling Observer Figure 4 Online is reporting, after drawing its lowest ratings on Fox thus far for last week's holiday weekend episode, SmackDown viewership climbed back up 5% last night. SmackDown averaged 2.446 million viewers on Friday night. It was behind all the major networks, which had stronger than usual competition, including the Pac-12 Championship game on ABC. The football game averaged 5.2 million viewers. For the first time since its debut, SmackDown did not finish on top of the 18 to 34 or 18 to 49 demographic ratings. The football game topped network TV in those demos. But there is good news for SmackDown, as the Observer Figure 4 noted, most regular network television shows were airing mid-season finales last night. First-run programming starts again in January, so SmackDown should face lighter competition in the coming weeks. This is a chance for the WWE to try and bring in viewers who don't like reruns. Whether or not the company takes advantage of this remains to be seen. Next up, Seth Rollins fights back. Seth Rollins wants people to know he won't take their abuse on social media. The Architect recently appeared on WWE Backstage and addressed his responses to detractors on social media. It affects you whether you want to fess to it or not. You read the comments, you hear the small segment of the audience. This is not everyone. I do live events all over the world and I'm not getting booed. There's a small contingent of our audience that is very vocal on social media. I'm a passionate guy. I love this business. This is my life. When I put so much into it, to feel like I get disrespected, I'm gonna push back. I'm not like Cena and is just gonna put motivational quotes on Twitter, or like Roman and just hang back. To each their own. To me, I'm passionate, and I love what I do every single day. If someone wants to take a shot at me, I'm not gonna be afraid to push back. The cool thing to do is to hate the guy that's on top. I'm not the first. Roman before me had that problem as well. Cena was the same thing. He might have pioneered the whole thing. Bret Hart, same sort of thing. Rollins must be deaf or hearing impaired if he doesn't hear the fans booing him every night. The fans turned on Rollins shortly after he began his program against Baron Corbin, and things only worsened when he began feuding with The Fiend. While Rollins is correct that some fans like to criticize the top guy, Rollins isn't helping himself going off on fans. Next up, an NBA player wants to wrestle. Current Boston Celtics player Inez Kanter is interested in becoming a WWE Superstar and recently met with WWE officials including Vince McMahon and Triple H. The 6'10 center and recent 24/7 champion told TMZ Sports, "Yeah, for sure, full time. I'm ready. I'm actually already talking to some people. I'm really good friends with Paul Heyman, and I actually got to meet with Triple H and Vince McMahon. They said, whenever you're ready." I said, alright, let's do it. I'm gonna finish basketball, and then it'll be in about 6 or 7 more years. Many pro football players have made the jump to full-time wrestling. In fact, check out our video tonight that's gonna look at 25 football players who became pro wrestlers, but pro basketball players transitioning to the squared circle are a rarity. To be fair, when the likes of Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman turned up in WCW, they weren't too bad, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. Next up, a scammer tries to impersonate Shayna Baszler online. NXT Women's Champion Shayna Baszler recently commented on a Twitter direct message someone sent to a fan claiming to be her. The fan shared the message on Twitter saying, "They messaged me hey, so I replied hi, and then I received this." I laughed out loud. They're trying to scam the wrong person because I know in no world would Baszler ever ask random people for gift cards. These people need real jobs. The Queen of Spades replied to the fan remarking, "I am the champion. I would never ask for gift cards. I would simply go without. People that do this rank right up there with some of the most pathetic people on earth. Try working hard yourself like I did, loser." We can't imagine things going well for the scammer who tried this if the NXT Women's Champion ever got her hands on him. Next up, the AEW trademark frenzy continues. Looks like there's no end in sight to AEW's efforts to protect its various properties by registering them for trademark protection. According to Mike Johnson of PW Insider, All Elite Wrestling trademarked the term "Join the Revolution" on 3rd December. Longtime fans will remember ECW using that term in the mid-1990s. AEW had previously filed a trademark for AEW Revolution, which could be the name of a future event. Additionally, Sean Spears recently trademarked Perfection, with a 10 in there, and the Chairman, while Joey Janela is seeking the trademark The Bad Boy, hopefully so that WWE and Rusev don't use them. Trademarks are an essential element for protecting one's intellectual property, and the WWE has long done so, trademarking superstars' names and other items to prevent rival promotions from stealing their work. AEW and many of its wrestlers seem savvy to this as well, with Cody Rhodes' recent acquisition of Bash at the Beach showing the importance of seemingly obscure intellectual property. Rhodes picked up Bash at the Beach, a former WCW pay-per-view name, and rumour has it the WWE is seeking to prevent him from using it. Up next, Shad Khan talks about AEW's success and why he invested in it. Tony Khan's billionaire backer and father Shad Khan is no stranger to investing in sports, whether it's American football or football in the UK. Recently, the multi-billionaire spoke with Forbes about what led him to supporting his son's quest to starting a wrestling company. The golden age of wrestling would be in the 90s when you had two competitive leagues, WCW and in those days WWF. And we know, with wrestling, it's scripted. But what was definitely unscripted, real, was the competition. Let's say in those days you had 10 million hardcore fans. Today there are probably 2 million or less, as there was an audience that was underserved. You also had talent. There was a bunch of pay-per-views earlier this year, and that was a great metric. But the audience for those shows, there were some of the biggest pay-per-views in the last 20 years. So that was an indicator that there was an underserved market. Nonetheless, there were risks, but Papa Khan seems to be happy with the way things have turned out for both his investment and his son, noting, "This is one of those cases where as a father, you don't mind being wrong. So it's absolutely, this was obviously my son Tony who had a passion for it. This was his idea and God's blessed us. We have the financial means, so we'll try it. And you get to a stage in life where you can fail and it's not life-threatening, and this was one of those. So I'm surprised as anybody." Our next story, the title defense on Raw. WWE.com has announced that Rey Mysterio will defend his newly won United States Championship against previous champion AJ Styles on the 9th December edition of Raw. For fans of shows such as Divorce Court, be sure to watch Raw as Lana and Rusev are officially getting divorced. Next up, don't call it a comeback. It looks like the talk of ACH's, aka Jordan Miles' return to the ring were greatly exaggerated. After Major League Wrestling announced Albert C. Hardy's return, the grappler proclaimed on Twitter, "I hate pro wrestling. I hate you shitty fans that you think you know it all. More importantly, I hate the snakes in this industry. None of y'all would never say anything about me to me. All of y'all can go screw yourselves. I'm cancelling my shows and I'm quitting pro wrestling." PW Insider contacted MLW about ACH's comments about quitting and received the following statement. "We respect ACH's decision and want him to be happy." Apparently though, Crime Time's Shad Gaspard has had enough, commenting, "On that note, shut the f*** up. If all you can do is badmouth and talk down people in the business, after people have gone out of their way to understand and help you, then f*** off. Talent gets you so far in life, but it's obvious your character is one of an attention-seeking ass who wants sympathy while burying others. Grow up and understand the world doesn't revolve around you. This business, as well as life, doesn't cater to one individual, so either suck it up and do something, or shut the fuck up, cause this bipolar crying shit is getting old." What are your thoughts on Shad Gaspard's comments? Is ACH just an attention seeker? Next up, Alberto Del Rio loses a replica championship. The former WWE champion made his return to MMA last night, fighting former UFC champion Tito Ortiz. Belts were on the line, but strangely, they both put up replicas of the title they won in WWE and UFC respectively. Last night the two fought at the Combat Americas pay-per-view, and Del Rio fell to Ortiz in just the first round, with quite a lot of time to spare. Ortiz managed to get the win after Del Rio tapped out to a chokehold. As a result, Ortiz was awarded the Cena-style WWE Spinner Championship replica, which he gave to his children as their big fans. Now, final news of today, a WWE title has been stolen. Yes, NXT UK star Walter's NXT UK Championship and passport was stolen, leaving him in a bind. PW Insider reports that Walter's WWE UK Championship belt, as well as Walter's passport, was stolen earlier today in Chicago, Illinois, after a smash and grab of the rental car Walter had the items inside. We are also told that Timothy Thatcher's rental car was also broken into and he had property stolen in a smash and grab. We are told by several local independent wrestlers that there's been a recent rash of cars being broken into near Logan Square in Chicago, where tonight's Evolve 142 event is slated to be held. It's curious that a wrestler would leave a championship belt in their car, let alone an important document like a passport, rather than carrying it on him. It should prove fascinating whether promoters begin encouraging champions to be more careful with their title belts, considering this incident and Chris Jericho losing the AEW Championship after winning it at All Out. But there you have it guys, the latest wrestling news. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, check out Wrestlelamia if you have some time, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.